So we are in thalamus, right? Thalamus is one forebrain part. Okay, main component of thalamus is thalamic nuclei. So what are different types of thalamic nuclei? Already you have seen in online class. Next, coming to functions of thalamus, it has many functions. First function is relay center for all sensations, means all ascending and descending tracts will terminate in third order neurons. So third order neurons terminate in second order neurons terminate in thalamus. Okay, that's what that answer is. Second one, center for processing of sensory information. So what thalamus will do is, thalamus forms the major center for processing the sensory information. Processing means how touch, for example, touch perception has to send to the brain. So all the peripheral sensory impulses reaching the thalamus are integrated, modified before being sent to the specific areas of cerebral cortex. So which place in the thalamus all the sensations are, they has to be differentiated. So senses are carried in the same pathway, while it coming in thalamus they are get interpreted and modified and specified where it has to go to the cerebral cortex. This function of thalamus is usually called as processing of sensory information. Next, center for determining quality of sensation. So quality of sensations, for example, it will tell us about the discriminative nature. What is meant by discriminative in nature means it is the ability to recognize the type, location and other details of sensations, and it is the function of cerebral cortex. So discrimination means able to differentiate the sense, able to differentiate the location where the sense is perceived, that is the function. Next, affective nature. The affective nature is the capability or capacity to determine whether a sensation is pleasant or unpleasant and agreeable or disagreeable. So that information also will tell the thalamus. So thalamus will tell the one sensation which we are feeling is pleasant or unpleasant, or also it will tell the capacity of sensation that is agreeable for us or not. Determining the affective nature of sensation is the function of thalamus. Okay. Next, what is the function of thalamus regarding sexual sensations means it will also forms the center for perception of sexual sensations, means perception the difference between touch of females and males, like that. So role in arousal and alertness reactions. So because of the connections with nuclear of reticular formation, thalamus is also plays important role in wakefulness and alertness in the subjects. Center for reflex activity. So because all the senses are relayed here, so thalamus acts as a center for reflex activity. Next, center for integration of motor activity. So though the connections with cerebellum and basal ganglia, thalamus serves as a center for integration of motor activity, means to execute the motor activities also thalamus plays an important role. So these 7 are the functions of thalamus. So finally, thalamus is the one part of the brain which mostly present in forebrain. So thalamus consists of thalamic nuclei. Several types of thalamic nuclei are given here. If you get the thalamus answer, you have to draw this diagram. Next, you have to write 7 functions regarding thalamus. So coming to the any lesions, any injuries to thalamus leads to different types of syndromes. Under that, first one is thalamic syndrome. So what are the symptoms? Ekaduntayi lesions and ante lesions, what is the cause? For thalamic syndrome means lesions occur because of the blockage in the thalamogeniculate branch of posterior cerebral artery. So because of lesion in that artery, following symptoms will be seen. Loss of sensations. Loss of sensations, generally called as what? Anesthesia, occurs as all sensory relay systems in thalamus is get affected. AST diagnosis means the person is unable to identify the known things. Ataxia means the person is unable to do the coordinated movements. So if we want to clap, two hands must be coordinated. So because of the lesions of in thalamus, the patient is unable to do the coordination movements like walking, clapping, all these things. Next, thalamic phantom limb means inability to localize the position of limb with closed eyes. So while closing the eyes, they can't where he is keeping his limb. Okay, so whether instead of recognizing, the patient thinks that his leg is on the air anta adi. So next, emilognosia means illusions. They will feel different types of illusions like his limb might be absent, like that. Pain sensation. So spontaneous pain oftenly occurs. The pain may be so intense that even resists the actions of powerful sedatives like morphine. So anta powerful sedations istene the pain will get reduced. Next, involuntary. Some involuntary movements are also observed like athetosis, chorea, intention tremor, all these will see. Next, thalamic hand. Thalamic hand means abnormal attitude of the hand in thalamic lesions, which is characterized by moderate flexion at wrist and hyperextension of all the fingers. Okay, so these are all the signs and symptoms of thalamic syndrome. Next, move on to hypothalamus. See here, what is the meaning of hypo? Hypo means below to the thalamus. It is located below to the thalamus. It is also located in the forebrain. Okay, so these what you are seeing is hypothalamic nuclei. So what are different types of hypothalamic nuclei? Paraventricular nucleus, anterior nucleus, preoptic nucleus, supraoptic nucleus, suprachiasmatic nucleus, optic chiasma, pituitary gland. Okay, where 1 minute ma, high altitude physiology. Okay, wait. Here we are. Dorsomedial nucleus, posterior nucleus, lateral nucleus, ventromedial nucleus, mammillary body, tuberal nucleus. All these are the hypothalamic nucleus. So here the functions of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus will regulate the all functions in our body. See here, first one, secretion of posterior pituitary hormones. Mainly hypothalamus secretes ADH and oxytocin by supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of hypothalamus. These two hormones, after secreted by hypothalamus, they are reached to posterior pituitary through through hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. Okay, next, control of anterior pituitary. So the anterior pituitary hormones are regulated by seven type of regulatory hormones which are produced by hypothalamus. What are those? Growth hormone releasing hormone, inhibiting growth hormone releasing polypeptide, growth hormone inhibitory hormone, also called as somatostatin, thyrotropic releasing hormone, corticotropin releasing hormone, gonadotropin releasing hormone, prolactin inhibiting hormone. All these hormones are secreted by hypothalamus. They will regulate the hormones which is secreted by anterior pituitary. Next, control of adrenal cortex means adrenal cortex secreted cortisol, and this cortisol secretion is regulated by ACTH hormone. See here, hypothalamus controls adrenal cortex through anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary regulates adrenal cortex by secreting ACTH hormone, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone. Again, this ACTH hormone in turn regulated by corticotropic releasing hormone, which is get secreted by hypothalamus. That is the meaning. Next, control of adrenal medulla. So adrenal medullary hormones like epinephrine and norepinephrine also in turn regulated by hypothalamus. Next, regulation of autonomic nervous system. So both sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous divisions are controlled by hypothalamus. And regulation of heart rate. So hypothalamus regulates the heart rate through vasomotor center, which is present in the medulla oblongata. Next, regulation of blood pressure. Same here, also same. Hypothalamus regulates blood pressure by acting on vasomotor center, which is again in the present of medulla oblongata. And hypothalamus regulates body temperature to normal. Okay. Next, also it regulates hunger and food intake by acting on feeding center and sciatic center in the medulla oblongata. Okay. So this is next, regulation of water balance. So hypothalamus regulates water intake and water does not take. When we are not feeling thirsty, we won't drink water. So by acting on thirst center, which is present in medulla oblongata. Next, regulation of sleep and wakefulness. So hypothalamus, because of its connection to reticular formation, also regulates wakefulness and sleepiness. Next, role in behavior and emotional changes. So hypothalamus regulates different emotional states like anxiety. Okay, so all these pleasant, unpleasant, all the sensations are regulated by hypothalamus. Why? Because hypothalamus consists of different centers like reward center, punishment center. Okay, so because of the stimulation of these centers, different emotions are regulated in our body. So next function is regulation of sexual function. So like that of thalamus, here also hypothalamus plays important role in regulation of sexual functions by secreting gonadotropin releasing hormones. So gonadotropin releasing hormones further releases SFH and LH in females and testosterone in males. Next, role in response to smell. So see here, posterior hypothalamus along with other structures like hippocampus and brainstem nuclei responsible for the autonomic responses of body to olfactory stimuli. And role in circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms means regular pattern of our life is set to normal by hypothalamus. Okay. Next, disorders of hypothalamus. Any lesions, any injuries in hypothalamus leads to diabetes insipidus, one type of sugars, in the body. And next, dystrophia adipis dystrophia dystrophia adiposogenitalis means this disease is characterized by obesity and sexual infantilism అంటే ఇన్ఫెర్టిలిటీ అని అర్థం, విచ్ ఈజ్ అసోసియేటెడ్ విత్ డ్వార్ఫిజం అంట. అండ్ ఆల్సో సి నార్కోలెప్సీ, catalepsy. What is narcolepsy? So narcolepsy consists of abnormal sleep patterns, and catalepsy means sudden uncontrolled outbursts of emotions associated with narcolepsy. While we are having sleep, we are though we are having different patterns of sleep, we will get emotions. That is called as what? Catalepsy. These are all the disorders that we can get, one person can get because of the disorders in hypothalamus.